From the Daily Wire, it says San Francisco Mayor London Breed, a Democrat, was photographed at a jazz club earlier this week indoors and without a mask, despite a citywide mandate. Let's play the video of her here as I read this report from the Daily Wire. You can see her there. There's not a mask in sight. And they are indoors and they're packed in tight. And there's someone singing there, exhaling vigorously, spraying his aerosol particles all over this crowd of maskless people. This is a really dangerous thing going on. And this was last week. When asked on Friday about her defiance of the mask mandate, Breed responded with excuses that wouldn't fly for anyone else, including a denunciation of the fun police. We have her excuses. The next day she was talking to the media. And in fact, she goes on for like 5 or 6 minutes defending herself. And I'm not going to play the entire thing, but here's a minute and a half of her offering excuses for defying her own mask mandate. And you just have to listen to this. Let's listen.
I had a good time at the Black Cat, and I think it's sad that this is even a story. The fact is, there was something that was really monumental that occurred, and that is Tony, the original members, the brothers, Raphael Sadiq and Dwayne Wiggins, who have not performed in public for, I believe, at least over 20 years. They are just really some of the most incredible artists in the history of this country and the Bay Area in particular. And the fact that that is getting lost here is very unfortunate, not to mention the incredible trumpeter, Maurice Mobetta Brown, who is just phenomenal. These incredible musicians who performed and who really uplifted the spirits of not just myself, but all of the people who were there. And from my perspective, I was there, I was eating, and I was drinking, and I was sitting with my friends, and everyone who came in there was vaccinated. So the fact that we have turned this into a story about being maskless, no, I'm not going to sip and put my mask on, sip and put my mask on, sip and put my mask on, eat and put my mask on. While I'm eating and I'm drinking, I'm going to keep my mask off.
Okay, well, she was having a good time. And besides, Dwayne Wiggins was there. Come on, Dwayne Wiggins was there. And there were incredible trumpeteers. I mean, look, is that not enough for you people? Yes, we're saying that it's a deadly pandemic and, if you walk outside without a mask on, you might die. And yeah, your kids have to go to school every day in a mask. Right? But Dwayne Wiggins was at the club and she was having a good time. She later on, she talks about, I don't know if she said it there or not because I was only barely paying attention, but she accuses the people who are telling her that she should obey her own rules. She's calling them the fun police. And she says that she was getting in the spirit, She was just vibing to the jazz music. Man, chill out, all right? And what is she going to do? Pull the mask down, take a sip of the drink, pull the mask back up, pull it down, take a sip. Who would do that? That's crazy. I mean, that's insane. It's crazy to expect anyone to do that. I mean, that's exactly what they tell you to do on planes, though. They tell you that explicitly. They say, pull your mask down, take a sip, and pull it back up. That's verbatim instructions from flight attendants on planes. Now, she's not on a plane, granted, but has Mayor London Breed come out and said how she feels about these kinds of regulations on planes? She is apparently against the federal guidelines on planes. She should be against them. But maybe she should say that out loud. Well, she only says it out loud in defense of herself, not in defense of anybody else. Now, of course, as always with these COVID hypocrites, the things they're saying in defense of their behavior if you're to consider that in a vacuum, it makes sense. I don't have a problem. I'm not the one with a problem of someone who has a problem with someone going to a nightclub and having a drink with their friends and hanging out without a mask on. All of that makes perfect sense. The problem, of course, is that those excuses would not fly for anybody else in San Francisco. No one else is allowed to do that. No business is allowed to say in San Francisco, I'm not going to abide by the mandates because I just want my customers to have a good time. They should be allowed to say that, but they can't. Only Mayor London Breed can say that. Because all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others, to quote Animal Farm. Animal Farm, which, by the way, I think if we're looking for an Orwell comparison and everyone goes to 1984 and there's certainly a lot that's analogous there, many comparisons, but I think Animal Farm more and more is the better comparison. But she doesn't apologize. And that's the other thing we always see with Democrats in general. Never apologize. Just double down. Maybe a lesson there for the rest of us. More hypocrisy on COVID. The Emmys were last night, and we're just going through all of the awards ceremonies and galas, and we had the VMAs last week. No one cares about any of this. Nobody watches any of it anymore. But they're still going to throw these really, even they don't have the ratings anymore to justify it, but they're still going to throw these parties for themselves because it makes them feel important, and that's what it's really all about. But they were indoors, maskless, at the Emmys, and then Seth Rogen gets up there and he calls them out for this. He's getting a lot of credit for this online. Social media is impressed with Seth Rogen for his courage and standing up there and calling out his fellow celebrities for their COVID hypocrisy. But I'm not quite as impressed as everybody else seems to be. Let's listen to Seth Rogen first.
Anyway, good to be here at the Emmy Awards. Let me start by saying there is way too many of us in this little room. What are we doing? They said this was outdoors. It's not. They lied to us. We're in a hermetically sealed tent right now. I would not have come to this. Why is there a roof? It's more important that we have 3 chandeliers than that we make sure we don't kill Eugene Levy tonight.
Yeah, that's perfect because they're laughing about their hypocrisy. There's no courage in that for Seth Rogen. He's saying, yeah, we're hypocrites. Isn't that hilarious? And everyone's laughing hysterically at it. He said, I wouldn't have come to this if I had known. Really, when you're like walking down the red carpet and you've got your fancy orange suit on, you didn't notice the building. You could you could leave any time. Do they have you at gunpoint on stage? I wouldn't be here right now if I knew it was going to be like this. And then he stays there for another 4.5 hours. Yeah, that's what we have to understand. They think that their hypocrisy is funny. It's just a joke. There's nothing remarkable about that except that they're doing it on TV with the cameras rolling, laughing about their own hypocrisy. But they don't care. Here's what we have to understand about the elites. They just don't care if you're upset about it. Mayor London Breed. I hate to even call her an elite as the mayor of that garbage crap hole San Francisco, but in a sense of being in charge of the city, she is. So they don't care if you're upset about it. They don't care if I'm upset about it. Because to them, we are subhuman. Our opinions don't matter at all. And all of these rules are for us because we can't be trusted. See, Mayor Breed, she can make judgment calls. And she knows that she's vaccinated, and she knows that this is a reasonable thing to do, and it's not a great risk and everything else, and she just wants to go and have a good time. That's discernment. That's a judgment call. She can do that. She can make that judgment call. She trusts herself. She trusts her friends to do that. But she doesn't trust you because you're nothing but a peon. You're barely human to her. That's the way they view it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.